Yeah.
Not
Oh, no. There's lots of ideas. No, there's plenty of suggestions. There's the dark matter that is thought maybe it's the supersymmetric these supersymmetric particles, and then there's going to be some answers to these questions coming up in coming years. There are some good experiments being planned for testing them. Eventually, we'll find out what it is. The point is that there's absolutely nothing in it that requires any external element, any non-physical element, any spiritual element, or anything that violates physical principles that we know. It's just going to be some new kind of stuff that.
But it makes the universe act not as it would if it weren't there. I mean, it's making it act completely different than the critical.
The critical density? No, it doesn't. In fact, the beauty of
it doesn't act like critical density.
This is a great story, actually, because before the dark energy was discovered, this is before the discovery around 1998, I guess it was, that the universe, several independent groups discovered that the universe's expansion was actually accelerating. When they were looking for the opposite, they were looking for it to be decelerating, and the only way they could explain that was by some kind of repulsive gravity. Well, at the same time, people were trying to reconcile the fact that on the one hand, measurements of the cosmic microwave background were consistent with this flat universe that was predicted by inflation. This is the universe of total energy is zero. Because the dark matter was just not enough to I mean, it's been long known that visible matter could not produce this balancing effect that I'm talking about, where the gravitational potential energy cancels the positive energy of matter. But it was thought that the dark matter would do it, and then they kept looking and finding evidence, and lots of evidence for the dark matter now, was enough. And it looked like the cosmological theory that people came up with in 1980, called the inflationary cosmological model, was going to be falsified. And then, surprise, totally unexpected, these independent groups discover the universe is accelerating, and that energy that's causing this acceleration, they call the dark energy, just exactly the amount they needed to compensate and give you zero total energy for the universe. And so it was a beautiful example of how science operates, and when you see these things happen, when you see something, a theory, just about ready to be falsified, and a new discovery is serendipitously made to just rescue the theory, you begin to believe that there's something behind these things. So we're very confident now that we have a very good understanding of cosmology.
Okay, well, another question is, you said that most of the space on Earth is waste, even though the water is pretty much what keeps the atmosphere from burning us up when sun expels a little bit more energy, and freezing when it doesn't. The atmosphere is what keeps everything alive, and the amount of water that is there, I'm pretty sure if there was less, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, our current form of life, but why wouldn't an intelligent designer come up with a form of life that wasn't so sensitive to all of that?
Not because of the way Earth is, because of the water, pretty much.
No, but I mean, why not have a form of life that could live in space, in the vacuum? Why do we have to be so tuned to this Earth? Well, it's pretty obvious. We're tuned to this Earth because we evolved on this Earth the way it was. It was just a total accident that we happened to evolve on this planet. This planet was suitable for us, and for our form of life, and our form of life evolved on it.
One final thing is, you said that one of the last statements said that we're made of nothing that actually exists in the rest of the universe. Are you challenging Carl Sagan? We're star stuff.
With what?
We're star stuff. We're made from the elements made in stars expelled into space. We're all carbon based.
Yeah, but that's only 3.5% of the universe. He didn't know that when he said that.
What do you mean 3.5%? I mean everything from nuclear fusion created all the elements that are on Earth right now that was made inside the stars.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the total amount of matter in the universe is mostly the dark matter. As you yourself said, it's mostly the dark matter and the dark energy.
Sagan
It's not the atoms.
Sagan died in 96, so the dark energy came out in 98. So the guy didn't know that it's only 3.5%. That's what
We're making from the stars that there aren't dark.
Yes, but you didn't
Sure.
know that
Yeah, I
that
don't
star
deny
stuff in the total it's less than 4% of the observable universe because Sagan died before this information came out.
I love Carl Sagan. I mean, don't think that I would disparage him in any way. He contributed so much to the understanding of science, and he understood it. He understood it very well. He understood what science was at that time. Yes.
Hi. I am an atheist, but I'm also a skeptic. Some of the
What?
you
Why not? And I'm also a skeptic.
well,
Okay.
what you had listed as the things that you were using as your hypotheses to test whether God would be things that you were to test, say that whether there was a creation or things. These are not necessarily things that even I, as an atheist, would list of what I believed a God would be. So I'm questioning whether these are necessarily
What
things
ones
that,
would you take off?
not necessarily that I would take, well, I don't believe that if there was a God that people would have necessarily superhuman powers, or I don't believe that all people who are Christian necessarily believe in a literal truth in the Bible. There are different, my point is that there are different definitions of God.
No, but when, in those two cases, I'm saying that if we have the souls that we're supposed to have, then that means it's something spiritual, it's something supernatural. That means we have supernatural elements to our lives. So therefore, those supernatural elements should come out. And surely, I mean, that was why there was this psychic research. The motivation the motivation for the psychic research that goes back to the middle part of the 19th century was to try to find evidence for this spiritual element that everybody believed we had. There were scientists involved with this.
Well, that's
so,
a stretch. And
so,
I'm not disagreeing with your hypothesis. I don't believe that there is a God, but I'm saying that that's a stretch.
well, that's
to say that there is no soul
no, that's
means
one of
that
the
there is no
predictions
God
I think
that-
you should have. There should be evidence. If we have supernatural souls, there should be evidence for that.
Well, I don't believe, and I go with the old standby, that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yes, and that is one of the arguments I hear over and over again, and I try to be very clear that I'm going further than that. I wrote another book called Has Science Found God that came out in 2003 that really was involved with that issue. What is the claims of evidence for God? God is basically absent, and is absence of evidence for absence? No, it's not, but it's certainly, but nevertheless, by itself, it's pretty good. I mean, at some point, you have to have a reason for believing in anything. I mean, when we don't have any evidence for Bigfoot, very few people believe in Bigfoot, and Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, and so on. You have to have some evidence before you believe in these things. And so while it is true, while it is technically true, while it is logically true that you can't totally rule out God on those arguments, this book attempts to go further, to say, look, there's so many consequences that the God that plays such an important role in the universe should have. Those consequences should be visible. They should be at least one or two of them. I list a whole bunch of them. Maybe you don't agree with one of them or the other. And you can always apologize your way out of any one of them, certainly. But at some point, it becomes ridiculous. You're just